What's up, guys, and welcome to the smallest season of Show Me Your Rig yet. This is season number 3. We're focusing on micro ATX and mini ITX systems, and also maybe some custom systems that you guys have put together that use those smaller form factor motherboards and components. Just like in previous seasons, season 2, the most recent example, we will be showcasing some other really cool builds that people have sent in as submissions. However, they will not be eligible for the end of season prize, and we do have one example of that. In this episode today, somebody sent me in a wall-mounted PC that looks pretty baller that I wanted to show you guys. So just to lay out some quick rules for you guys, just as in previous seasons, this is the email address right up here that you guys need to remember, write down, and submit to if you want to be a part of the show. Send me in your small form factor builds, and you will be in the running for the $100 prize at the end of the season, chosen by you guys, the fans. Make sure to include your name, your system specs, what you use the system for, and any other relevant information that you think that I might want to know and talk about when I show your system off to the YouTube world. But without further ado, let's roll into episode number 1 of season number 3 of Show Me Your Rig Small Form Factor Edition. Roll that intro and let's go. Our first system is from Mattias P, and Mattias writes, although successful, my first Dan A4 SFX mod quickly left me unsatisfied, so I had to come up with something new. I wanted to combine all the aspects of a high-end ATX gaming tower, but in a mini ITX format as small as the Dan A4 SFX. That meant modifying the version 1 Dan A4 SFX to accept an Asetek 545 LC 92mm liquid cooler and doing a full custom sleeving of all the system's cables with authentic MDPCX sleeving. The results you can see on the images below. Now, Mattias, I have to say that your system is pretty awesome looking, but you didn't send me any specs. So we're gonna have to make some assumptions here, or maybe even not make some assumptions, but I did want to showcase your handiwork because I felt that the build itself was very impressive. So obviously here is the very front of the Dan case, and here are the guts. So we've got a Corsair SFX power supply, and you did mention this is an Asetek 92mm liquid cooler. Looks like you got some G.Skill Trident Z RGB memory here, your custom sleeved cables, and then this is a so it's an Asus Strix motherboard. And it was really difficult for me to tell exactly what kind of Asus Strix motherboard this was. It's an Intel socket, but I don't know what the board is. I don't know what the processor is. And you got an EK Waterblocks M.2 SSD cooler here. So yeah, just trying to figure this out is pretty difficult, especially because you have some camouflage in the form of some carbon fiber accents over the I/O. I just can't make it out. So this could be, you know, a 6th gen, 7th gen, 8th gen chip. I really don't know. 9th gen chip. Who knows? But it's in there, and this is definitely an Intel board. So I'm going to assume this is 16 gigs of memory, and I'm going to assume you have an M.2 drive under that EK Waterblocks M.2 drive cooler. But besides that, it's really difficult to tell what else is here. We do see the Asus Strix GPU. Again, they've used this shroud design so many times that it's hard to say. This could be a 1070. This could be a 1080 Ti. Any of those is possible. It also could be a few of the RTX cards, although some of the RTX cards actually have a different fan design. But some of them, again, use this fan design. So this could be, I think, a 2070. I don't know. But in any event, whenever you cram this much hardware into such a small and neatly designed chassis and do all your wiring the way you did, it's always going to come out looking pretty impressive. Your photography skills are pretty good. I would have liked like a full-on side shot, I think. This is good, but I guess artsy and angled. Yeah, full-on side shot would have been a little bit more helpful here in figuring out what exactly you got going on in there. At the same time, still a very impressive case, very impressive build. I like the way that you've just decided to go completely minimal here and keep your footprint down to almost zero on your desk. So This is well done, very well built, especially because you've done all like the sleeving and stuff yourself and made sure that the cable lengths are correct. And yeah, it looks really great. I just wish I knew exactly what was in it. So thank you very much, Mattias P. And we're going to move on to our second system now. System number 2 today is from Jake, and Jake did not provide me with a last name or even a last initial, but he did sign his email with Jake and then a smiley face. So we're going to call him Jake Smiley Face. And Jake writes, my build is in no way finished. It was an ATX system in a custom loop, but as I will be going to university in September, I decided to downsize. So the specs here, this is a Parvum Systems X 2.0. Ryzen 7 1800X processor. He's got a Noctua NHD 15 with Chromax covers and noise blocker fans, an Asus Strix B450i gaming motherboard, 2x4GB of Corsair Dominator Platinum 3000 speed memory, WD Black 500GB M.2 SSD, Samsung 850 EVO 256GB SSD, an Asus Strix GTX 1080, a Corsair SF 600 Platinum power supply, and some noise blocker fans and some Thermaltake fans as well. He finishes up the email by saying it's a little dated, but all the parts were bought used, excluding LED stuff, cables, fans, and my case. Really enjoy your videos. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, Jake. Just looking at these specs, I don't necessarily see things as being dated. The 1800X is still a killer chip. I mean, it's a couple years old, sure, but AMD's just kind of been iterating, and you know, you could still get some serious performance out of those processors. So nothing wrong with that at all. And taking a look at this build, just this first shot, again, nothing wrong with this at all, because I really like the way this looks, especially with these Chromax covers. Noctua makes just the best air coolers, basically. I mean, Be Quiet makes some beefy ones too, but I mean, just the general consensus is Noctua is the best. But they look ugly, right? But they came out with these Chromax covers, and that makes things a whole lot more palatable when you're looking at a system like this that does have some real aesthetic appeal, especially when you have a black and white setup. And I do really like the inclusion of the noise blocker fans. I guess we're gonna get at some close-ups here, but let me back up for just a second. I do really like the inclusion of the noise blocker fans. They look obviously a lot better than the Noctua fans, although you're not covering the entirety of the heatsink here. So I think these are noise blocker 120mm fans, and this is a 140mm tower cooler. So I think that this, from what I remember anyway, I guess I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'll annotate it on the screen. But you know, if it comes with several 140mm fans and you replace them with 120mm fans, you're not going to get quite the same amount of cooling capacity. However, an 1800X is not going to run necessarily very hot, so I think you're probably fine there. Close-up of the power supply and the custom sleeve cables and your Samsung SSD. This is a super close-up of some more of the cabling, but I mean, these are very well trained, and I think when you're dealing with small systems like this, and we're probably going to see a lot more of that this season, custom cables are kind of just the way to go, because if you just have full-length cables in a very tiny build, then you're going to have enormous cable mess, and it might be difficult to find places to hide them, to route them properly. So if you go the custom sleeve cable route, you can not only specify your colors, but you could specify your lengths, and obviously when you're dealing with limited space, that is going to be super beneficial. You've also got a custom sleeved SATA data cable here, which is kind of cool. Looks like an LED strip down there at the bottom too, and you get some lighting going on. And these photos are really cool. I really like the way you did these photos. Again, I would have liked like maybe a little more broad side shot of everything, because you didn't include that, but this is, you know, your photography skills are kind of on point here. Nice black and white shot of the upside down graphics card from Asus, along with, again, more cabling. This is kind of blown out down here, so I don't really know what we're looking at, but yeah. Oh, I guess this is just the back of the case. Nothing back there to see anyway. Yeah, you can see just how massive this cooler is compared to the rest of this case. Basically, the cooler takes up the entire interior of the case, and then a shot from, I guess this is the top of the case down, looking at some more cables, and then with full color shot with all your lighting effects enabled. So this is coming from, I believe, the back of the board has some LEDs on it. and this must be like an LED strip that you have going on over here to light up the rest. And I think we've almost hit the end. So this is out of the back side of the case, and these Parvum Systems cases are really cool. Definitely like to build in one of them one day. Just haven't had the opportunity to. I know that I think Jay did a full custom loop in one of these one time, which is pretty impressive. Maybe I'll get my hands on one of these one day and check it out. But there you go. There is system number 2 from Jake Smiley Face, and pretty cool looking system. I really like the noise blocker fans they're really sticking out to me. It's definitely something that's different. You don't see those all that often. But thank you very much for sending it in, and we're gonna move on to system number 3, mounted on a wall. Our last system is from Derrick S, and he writes, "I'm an engineer by day and a gamer by night. My old computer was starting to age, and I wanted to upgrade my PC to be capable of VR. So I started to plan a new computer, and things got slightly out of hand. My biggest priority with this project was making a case that looked like you can buy it from a professional boutique PC supplier. It had to be clean, functional, practical, and aesthetically pleasing. I picked the gray metallic paint and white cables because they were modern and simple and left a lot of room for future color schemes. My favorite part of the computer is the custom Data Pro 1U server rack panel that I had made, which feeds all the cables from the various components down to the bottom. This PC project turned into something that I'm super happy with. I love the process of planning, fabricating, and meticulously building the PC as much as I love being able to look at it and use it. I hope you like it and would love for others to be creatively inspired by it." That's a nice goal to have, and maybe some of you guys will be inspired by it. I am to a degree, but the likelihood that I build something like this is very low because this is pretty sick. So here's the whole setup. He's got an i7 9700K and an Asus Maximus 11 Formula motherboard. He's got a 4x8 gig kit of Corsair Dominator Platinum RGB, an EVGA 2080 Ti for the Win 3 Ultra Hydro Copper GPU. For storage, he's got a couple of Samsung Evos and a 1TB Western Digital Blue Drive. For power supply, he's got an EVGA 850 T2. The cables are CableMod ModFlex. Monitors are Asus PG278QR. Those are 1440p 165 Hz panels. Keyboard, Logitech G Pro mouse, Logitech G Pro wireless. And the I/O panel is custom Data Pro 1U server. Here's a picture of this setup, and you're kind of in a weird corner of the room here. You got like a weird angle going on. I don't know what's going on here, but anyway, very neat, very clean, very well done. Looks like you got a lot of decent desk space with your microphone set up here and your webcam, and maybe you do some streaming on the side. But yeah, this is obviously very well put together, well thought out setup. Get your Logitech peripherals on the desk, and that's about it. Nothing else really here taking up space. So let's get into the system itself. Now, I'm gonna tell you guys right off the bat, I'm not gonna have anything negative to say. I just wanted to kind of show this off because this is pretty awesome. So looks like you got 2 separate loops here, one for the CPU over here with a EK420 rad or 480 rad, and then one over here for the GPU with another EK 480 rad, and all using Noctua fans. So obviously each loop is going to have its own pump res combo, its own drain valve, and this is I mean, I can't even imagine that your temperatures would be any better doing anything other than this, because this is probably going to be way more cooling than you could possibly need, especially on something like a 9700K. But this is just the amount of craftsmanship that went into this was just pretty astounding to me, especially when we get to the backside, which is really where the magic happens. But just having to run cabling, you know, from all the way from the corner of this board back into the board, and then out for the GPU, and then out for the CPU, and out for all your storage, and out for your pumps, and out for your fans, or I guess the fans can connect to the motherboard, but in any event, you get the idea. Just the amount of time and planning that goes into building something like this, I don't even know that I would have the patience for. So this is pretty crazy, and I could see where you say, you know, it kind of went off the rails when you were planning this build. And here is that custom I/O panel, which is one of the reasons that I wanted to showcase this, because I thought this was really cool. It's not just like you're taking a bunch of components and mounting it to a piece of plywood or something like this. You've planned this so that this actually reminds me a lot of the way that, hey, there you are, the way that Thermaltake planned their P series of chassis, where it's not just a solid piece of metal or wood or whatever it is in this case, but it's actually a storage compartment, and it's hollow behind here for storing all of your cabling. So here's the back side. You got some LED lighting, and it looks like a TV mount, like a VESA mount that you're just using to mount everything to the wall. And here's the I/O panel down here. And then here is the money shot, because obviously you have all this airflow planned out because you have cutouts for the radiators on either side. But you can see this is kind of like a chamber. Then you had to plan out all your cabling and kind of make sure that everything was zip tied in place, and then all the I/O is piped right down to the bottom here. So it's going to give you the best possible options for routing all your cabling when you only have to worry about connecting to this unit in one spot, as you do right here. It's all at the bottom, which is really cool. In any event, this is awesome, and I thought you guys might want to see it. Don't often get submissions that are quite as I don't know, meticulously done as this. And look at that guy. He's so happy. I would be happy too, to be honest with you. But thank you very much for the submission. And that's going to be it for this episode 1 of Season 3. Let's wrap it up. So that's a wrap on the very first episode of Season 3 of Show Me Your Rig Small Form Factor Edition. 2 systems that will be eligible for our end of season prize, and 1 that was just too cool not to show you guys. And we will continue to mix in those kinds of builds here or there, but we're going to be focusing mainly on Mini ITX and Micro ATX. So if you got those systems, send them in to me. You could be eligible for that $100 prize. Once again, this is the email address right up here. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the episode, and I will see you next time.